And on the Israeli side of the border, homes were damaged after rockets were fired by Hezbollah. The Israeli military says that the armed group fired at least 700 rockets towards Israel and the occupied Golan Heights this week. Tens of thousands of Israelis were forced to leave their homes near the border with Lebanon soon after Hamas's attack on October 7 last year. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now says that bringing them back to their homes is a major military objective. Let's bring in Al Jazeera's Hamdah. Salhut. She's live for us in Amman, Jordan, because the Israeli government's banned Al Jazeera from reporting within Israel. Hamdah, let's just remind our viewers, this has been the biggest escalation between Israel and Hezbollah in 20 years or so. So what more have Israeli political and military leaders been saying, Hamdah?
Well, this is the biggest escalation since the cross-border fire began on October the 8th of last year. In the last 24 hours alone, the Israeli military is saying that Hezbollah fired some 300 rockets into northern Israel, many of them intercepted or falling in open areas, but many of them actually making impact, hitting homes in the northern part of the country and causing large fires in some of those areas as well. But the Israeli military activity across Lebanon has also been unprecedented. The airstrikes conducted in 4 waves, according to the military, 250 fighter jets taking part in dropping 2,000 munitions across Lebanese territory. We've been hearing from a wide variety of Israeli officials. The defense minister, Golan, said that the Hezbollah that stands today is not the Hezbollah that was standing a week ago, saying that Israel has dealt severe blows to the Lebanese group and that there are more on the way. The Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari had noted that he didn't want to divulge a lot of information or intelligence about what exactly the Israeli military was targeting, which is interesting because just a few hours prior, the Israeli army had released a quantitative list of what type of munitions and how many they had struck in several different areas. The army chief of staff is saying that Hezbollah is not going to get a break. The attacks are going to intensify until the war goal of bringing back those evacuated Israelis to those northern towns and settlements is achieved. So we're hearing from a wide variety of Israeli officials, but the rhetoric remains the same, that they don't want this escalation to last for a long time, but that they are prepared to enter into a full-scale war.
And Hamdah, as you say, meanwhile, Hezbollah continues to launch hundreds of rockets into Israel. What impact is all this having on residents in the north and elsewhere across Israel?
Well, there are certainly mixed reactions among Israeli society. You have the people who live in the north who have wanted some sort of plan from the Israeli government for nearly a year now because there hasn't been any sort of military strategy on how to bring them back to their homes. But then you have another chunk of Israeli society who's quite scared of an all-out war with Hezbollah that could drag other countries or groups from the Middle East into the conflict. They're afraid that that would mean there's no ceasefire deal in Gaza and there's no prisoner for captive swap. The families of Israeli captives have said they are extremely concerned about that possibility. And look, there are also fears growing on both sides of the border about a potential Israeli ground invasion into southern Lebanon. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant was actually touring the north and meeting with Israeli army troops who are stationed there conducting drills for a potential ground invasion. This is something they've actually been doing for months. And it's important to remember some of the rhetoric of these Israeli officials, that they are not afraid to bomb Lebanon back to the Stone Age, that they are not afraid to turn Lebanon into a second Gaza. And they say that their policy here is to restore the balance of power on the northern border. So there are still mixed reviews within Israeli society about what exactly is to come.
All right, Al Jazeera's Hamdah Salhut live for us there in Amman in Jordan. Hamdah, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.